What on earth is going on in our federal Senate? Is there something in the tap water? Or are our senators required to have a PhD in undergraduate theatrics and moral vanity? Take Green Senator Nick McKim as an example. Yesterday, he demanded Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price remove an Australian flag from around her neck, insisting that if she didn't, he would drape a Palestinian flag around his own neck.
If it's okay for Senator Nampijinpa-Price to wrap herself in this flag, I would intend to wrap myself in a Palestinian flag.
And earlier in the week, in response to Senator Pauline Hanson calling for biological definitions of male and female to be enshrined in law, Senator McKim had this to say about women who believe men identifying as women should be excluded from female change rooms.
And Kimberley and their ilk, what they actually are. And that is trans exclusionary right-wing dropkicks. TERDS. They're not TERFs, they are turds.
I'm trying to work out how you stand up in the Senate and you call women turds for defending their own safety, and you're not sanctioned by your fellow senators. And of course, I can't talk about Senator McKim without recalling this outburst regarding global warming 2 years ago, a performance that never gets old, mainly because, well, it never grew up.
Shut your mouth. You can shut your mouth. People are dying.
Senator McKim, resume your seat.
Sociopaths like you.
Senator McKim,
I'm not going to cop interjections from sociopaths like Senator Canavan. I will
McKim, resume
not
your
cop
seat.
And what they've got to answer for is death, disease, displacement, starvation, people dying of thirst, arable farming lands turning into desert, and most likely billions of people dead by the end of this century, and the collapse of the ecosystems.
Joining me now is Christy McSweeney from PR Council and Sky News contributor James Bolt. Christy, help me understand what on earth is going on there. I mean, I don't mean to pick on Senator Nick McKim. I could have easily rolled out highlights reels from Senator Payman, Senator Thorpe, Senator Hanson-Young, Senator Jordan Steele-John, Senator Faruqi. The list goes on. But is it just me? I don't remember having this many crazies in the Senate.
Well, as you know, James, when the coalition was in government, they changed the law so that it made it harder to get elected to the Senate with a small quota. Remember, we had all these minor parties horse trading with each other to get elected, and they had tiny amounts of votes. And I feel that you've spoken about Nick McKim, but you've also mentioned some other senators, Senator Payman and Senator Thorpe, for example, who have no choice but to engage in more and more extreme behaviour to build themselves a base so they can up their personal vote, which hopefully they are thinking gets them over that level that they need to continue to be re-elected. So it's sort of the Americanisation of Australian politics in a way where people are pitching to a constituency that they need to get out the vote, so to speak, even if we have compulsory voting, but they need those people to vote for them as a core level of their base. The Greens, of course, they're in this disillusioned battle, thinking that they can win votes back from Labor at the next election, even though they lost a number of seats this election. So they too are becoming more and more extreme, pitching to their own constituency and hoping to drag those real left-wing voters away from Labor and back to Greens and build that base. And they're obviously going for a youth base. Look, it's not representative of what most people in Australia think or what people think the Senate should do. But, you know, that is the case of it, and people, misguidingly, the Greens are still getting between 8 and 10% of the vote in this country, coming out with things like that in the Senate.
Indeed they are. All right, Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong met in public for the first time yesterday, and apart from plotting global domination, which, let's be honest, is just Wednesdays for these guys, what else could they have possibly discussed? Well, apparently the three gentlemen were caught on a hot mic chatting about how to live forever. Yes, dictators swapping tips about eternal life. Take a listen.
经济的发展，人类的器官会不断的移植，是越活越年轻，甚至会长生不老。人预测呢，本世纪呢，可能
Dictators plotting eternal life while casually discussing other people's organs. That is disgusting, especially when you're in China, where the organs of executed prisoners are routinely harvested. Grotesque. The one consolation I guess we have is these despots won't live forever, but they're planning to. James, is this just a casual conversation or is this something more sinister?
I don't think there is a possibility of any conversation between Vladimir Putin and the Chinese president being casual. I don't think that's a word we can use to describe it. But I'll tell you what, when dictators think they're on the verge of dying, that's when they can start doing some really, really bad things. So if these two guys think that they can live forever, they're not planning their legacy for the rest of the world. That is somewhat relaxing, I guess, in the grand scheme of things that they could possibly be talking about. So, yeah.
I've got to ask you, Christy, I think a sense of one's own mortality brings some humility. You realise you're only here for a short time and then you'll answer to God for your deeds. Not much humility among those three, and I suppose most of them wouldn't be particularly keen to meet God either.
Oh, look, you couldn't actually. If you thought dictators would have a conversation about anything and you had to guess what it would be about how to live forever and how to have some really weird ideas of what's medically possible and what might keep them in power for longer and longer and longer. We do know Xi, he changed the constitution so he could be in power for as many terms as he liked. Don't forget, Putin shows no signs of going anywhere. The next natural step is to co-opt your country's medical and academic professions to figure out how you can live together. It's unbelievable, isn't it? You just wouldn't hear it in Western democracies at all.